ever. Plus, there's sheer excitement for one business owner cutting through the obstacles of a pandemic. And later, basketball is back. Highlights from a holiday hoops tournament at Carroll College.
From Montana's news leader, this is the MTN 530 News.
Good evening and thanks for making MTN a part of your Friday. I'm Tim McGonigal. Most of us haven't had to deal with the snow this holiday weekend, but we haven't been able to avoid those winds. Here with more on that is Grant Garland in the Storm Tracker Weather Center. Grant?
Yeah, that's exactly right. So we have a situation unfolding where we're having winds up in the atmosphere being able to kind of be brought down to the surface. I mean, take a look, for example, we saw 67-mile-per-hour winds today in Cut Bank. And yesterday we talked about the likelihood of 60 to 75-mile-per-hour winds in those high wind prone areas. Well, there you go. 48-mile-per-hour wind gusts in Great Falls, 31 in Helena, and 43 in Havre. The National Weather Service, they have expanded this high wind warning to encompass Cascade County as well as Fergus County and continuing up in Blaine County as well until tomorrow at noon, due to the fact that we're going to be looking at windy conditions tonight into tomorrow morning. So expect those kinds of wind gusts of around 40 to 50 and sometimes 60 miles an hour likely. 26-mile-per-hour winds, though, sustained right now in Cut Bank and 25 in Great Falls. Temperatures 42 degrees in both Cut Bank and Havre, 39 in both Helena and Glasgow. And we're looking at another mild and windy day in store for us tomorrow. We're going to talk about all this and more coming up. But for now, Tim, to you, sir.
All right, thanks a lot, Grant. Well, as COVID-19 infections continue to surge across Montana, its citizens may be asking when and how can it begin to stop or at least slow down. MTN's Mike Dennison posed those questions and more to the state's top infectious disease specialists this week. They said light is visible at the end of the tunnel, but the length and depth of the darkness depends on the actions of individual Montanans in the coming months.
Dr. Greg Holtzman is Montana's state medical officer at the State Department of Public Health and Human Services. He says a vaccine for COVID-19 may be available as early as next month, but access to any vaccine will be in stages, he says, and is not the only solution that's needed.
But if we sat here and waited until everybody got vaccinated, we're going to lose a lot more lives and have a lot more people suffering. So we want to move now, doing all the public health interventions.
And according to Holtzman and Jim Murphy, the head of Montana State Bureau of Communicable Disease Control and Prevention, that means adhering to some basic guidelines to prevent the spread. Stay home as much as possible and limit personal contacts. If you do go out, keep 6 feet apart. And when interacting with those outside your personal circle, wear one of these, a face mask. Both men say a lack of compliance to these simple directives has fueled the spread of COVID-19, leading to more than 1,000 new cases a day this month in Montana.
If you look at the estimates of masking use in Montana, we're well below where you would want to be in order to help contain the spread of this.
So we need people to be all working together, and you can't have a large proportion deciding not to follow the guidance and expect the virus to go away.
Murphy says health professionals expected a surge once the weather turned and people moved indoors in closer contact. But the relentless increase in cases is putting extreme stress on Montana's hospitals and healthcare system, stretching their ability to deal with other illnesses or accidents.
Just go to any of the ERs and see how many people are coming in that they're not sick enough to actually end up in the hospital, but the ER providers are seeing these patients, trying to take care of them, get them in the right sense, and give them the guidance of what to do and to come back if things get worse.
And while many COVID-19 cases may have mild symptoms, the disease still has killed more than 650 Montanans, more than 1% of those contracting the virus.
If everybody in Montana, was a victim of COVID or got COVID, and 1% was our fatality rate, that's 10,000 Montanans that you would lose during that time. That's a sobering number for some folks.
Reporting from Helena, Mike Dennison, MTN News.
Lincoln Public Schools have announced that they will continue with remote learning into 2021, while some other local schools are set to return to in-person classes. According to a post on the Lincoln Schools website, the district extended online learning through January 4th because of the rising numbers of COVID-19 cases in Lincoln and the number of close contacts. All Great Falls schools, except for East Middle School, will return to the classroom Monday. East will resume in-person learning on Wednesday. In the East Helena district, Radley Elementary School is going to resume in-person instruction Monday. That school had shifted to remote learning 2 weeks ago after several teachers were out due to COVID concerns. Montana City and Clancy schools also expected to be back in their buildings on Monday. Well, health officials hope cell phones will help with contact tracing for those with coronavirus. Apple and Google phone users can receive an alert if they were near someone who later tested positive. The alerts are only available in 15 states so far. Here's how they work. First, the alert app must be activated. When someone using the alert system tests positive, a health official sends them a PIN number to put into their phone. Any other phone near that person in the previous 2 weeks will be alerted. Well, thousands of Montana businesses have taken advantage of grant programs to help make it through this pandemic. However, they say while that funding is greatly appreciated, it doesn't come anywhere close to replacing what they've lost. MTN's John Riley has more on how this holiday season will be make or break for many shops.
A steady stream of shoppers found their way to downtown Helena on Black Friday, but not nearly the torrent from past years. Many retail businesses depend on holiday shopping as part of their yearly budget. During the pandemic, that revenue is needed more than ever.
We make about a third of our revenue during the holidays, and that is what sustains us from January until summer vacation-ish, when people start to come into the state. And even then, this year, we saw some movement of tourism, but who knows what we can get next year.
Montana Book Company is one of more than 8,000 small businesses across the state that have received funding through the Business Stabilization Grant Program. Each qualifying business was able to receive up to $20,000 to help cover payroll, rent, and utilities. Montana Book Company's last grant covered about a month's worth of those minimum business needs. However, small businesses have now felt 8 months of pandemic impacts. Downtown shoppers MTN spoke with said they were out Friday to help ensure local businesses are still there next year.
This year, more than any other year, because of the pandemic, they've been really hit hard. A lot of the foot traffic isn't there, and so we're just trying to be safe, but keep shopping local and keep these important stores in town.
It would be sad to see any of them close, and so I try to do what I can, as little bit of spending as I can, just to help keep them open. So,
Governor Bullock has announced another round of business stabilization grants, but that will be the last of the CARES Act funding. And right now, Congress has not reached an agreement on any additional funding beyond that. Business owners say they will take any support they can get right now, but they're especially going to need support in the months to come, when times tend to be the leanest. Reporting in Helena, John Riley, MTN News.
Business leaders in Great Falls say this Small Business Saturday might be the most important one ever. The Great Falls Chamber of Commerce has put together a list of local shops that could benefit from your business this holiday season. The list shows you whether each business offers curbside pickup, shipping from the store, or online shopping. Since the pandemic, many small businesses have stepped up their presence online to attract customers who were nervous about venturing outside. Tomorrow, their doors will be open with public health precautions in place, like social distancing and hand sanitizer at the door. Great Falls Development Authority Executive Director Brett Doney says despite the pandemic, he's optimistic about the days and weeks ahead.
2021 is going to be a very exciting year for Great Falls and the surrounding Golden Triangle. I think our economy is going to roar back. But it's very important that we all hang together and get through the long winter. And supporting our local businesses is a great way to keep them going, give them the cash to get through the winter.
And masks are still required in nearly all public places. That includes most small businesses. Well, a hair salon created by the pandemic for the pandemic. MTN's Alexia Guayo goes inside to show us how this salon adapted to the pandemic.
Veronica Soth has been a hairstylist for over 25 years, working with different salons in the northwest region of the country. Like many businesses, she too suffers from the effects of the pandemic and had to stop serving her clients in March, until salons were allowed to open up again.
When salons opened back up, I was concerned for my own safety and concerned for the safety of my clients.
Veronica always had a goal to open a studio. The pandemic influenced her to open a single-chair hair studio, Uno Hair Salon, providing one-on-one service in a regulated environment.
It feels great to be able to come in here and do what I love to do and to see the people that have been supporting me and know that I'm in a space where I'm 100% in control.
Veronica says she's been busy since her studio opened in September. She believes it is a clear sign that the Helena community will bounce back from this pandemic.
I really think Helena's going to bounce back. I've seen this town bounce back from the recession, and there's a lot of creativity here, a lot of entrepreneurial spirit that is, I think, going to be what's needed for us to all thrive.
Uno Hair Salon hopes in the long future, when this pandemic dies down, that they can expand their business into a teaching facility. In Helena, I'm Alexi Guayo, MTN News.
Now, Veronica says they will be closed for the month of December for maintenance around the salon, but will reopen in January. When the news continues, find out what one woman is doing to put a stop to human trafficking. Her story is just ahead.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 530 News.
Welcome back. A new effort is underway locally to raise awareness about human trafficking. A support group for victims and survivors starts meeting 1 week from today. MTN's Coulter Anstead introduces us to the woman behind the effort.
I decided that I wanted to just start a group because I'm the type of person that likes to just talk about what I've been through.
Chelsea Lanphier recently moved to Great Falls from Oregon. When she realized there were no groups locally dealing specifically with the issue of human trafficking, she created a support group called Solid Ground. The issue is something she became passionate about through her involvement with a nonprofit in Oregon that works to end human trafficking.
It really struck me because I myself can resonate with some of it. I was not a victim of sex trafficking, but I did traffic materials.
According to the National Human Trafficking Hotline, the hotline was contacted 87 times in 2019 by people referencing human trafficking in Montana. 38 cases were reported last year. Lanphier says she's gotten a lot of positive feedback since she started advertising the support group.
It makes me feel excited for victims and survivors.
In Great Falls, Coulter Anstead, MTN News.
And she hopes to eventually start a nonprofit. You can find a link to next week's meeting on our website.
Well, our highs observed today, 45 degrees for Black Friday. Don't go away, your 7-day forecast is coming up next.
Storm Tracker weather starts now with Grant Garland.
Welcome back, everybody. I hope that you have had a fantastic Friday, especially after yesterday with Thanksgiving. Hopefully y'all are all still full. I know I am. Today's highs, we got up to around 45 degrees in the Electric City as well as in Helena, well above the average for this time of year. 53 in Lewistown and almost 60 degrees, close to that in Jordan at 56. So I decided to keep the pumpkin in the background because, it's still just a day afterwards. The average for this time of year is right around 38. So yeah, well above that. But for our lows, did you know it typically gets around 19 degrees? Tonight, we're only going to get into the mid to upper 30s for a lot of us. The record, though, was set back in 1985 when it was negative 24 degrees. That was also the year that, we had movies like The Breakfast Club, if I recall, as well as The Goonies came out. Take a look outside. The U.S. Bank iCam looks great downtown. Temperature's 46 degrees there, but check this out. Winds out of the southwest at 38 miles an hour downtown. It's making it feel like it's around 36 degrees. Now currently in other places we're seeing 42 degrees in the Electric City, 41 in Lewistown, 39 in Great Falls, and 42 in Cut Bank, 39 in Helena. With our winds right now, 25-mile-per-hour winds in Great Falls, 26 in Cut Bank, 11 in Lewistown, and 20 in Havre. When we take a look at the overall picture for today, we saw 67-mile-per-hour winds in Cut Bank, very, very breezy. 48-mile-per-hour winds in Great Falls and 31 in Helena, 43 in Havre. And when we take a look at what we're expecting tomorrow, we're going to see possible wind speeds just like today. So, just heads up on that. Clouds have been building into central Montana as they make their way out to Lewistown, so expect that over the next couple of hours. And due to our winds, because we were seeing them exceed 50 miles an hour, National Weather Service, they've said, all right, we're going to go ahead and place a high wind warning and encompassing really all of central and north central Montana until tomorrow at noon. We're going to have a cold front move through tonight, and that's going to allow for our winds to also gust up to those possible 60-mile-per-hour winds. So when we take a look at tomorrow, this is right around 6 a.m. We're going to be looking at It's 30 to 40, sometimes 50-mile-per-hour winds in several places. But thankfully, as we go throughout the day and into the nighttime hour, we start to see our winds really die down. As far as our next couple of days go, for Great Falls, we're going to start to see our winds die down to only 30 miles an hour. And for our friends in Helena, around 25 miles an hour. But again, that cold front, as we go throughout the night, we start to see a cold front drop in from Canada. As that happens, moisture stays off towards Missoula. We're going to look at our winds really picking up behind this front. And as that happens, going throughout the day tomorrow, we start to see this transition. It weakens, and as it does so, it will wash out. We're down towards the south, then the high pressure builds into the area. And I shouldn't say wash out. It just will regain strength back to the south, but not for our area. High pressure stays in control all throughout the day on Sunday, really strengthening over the eastern part of the state. So tonight, temperatures 37 degrees in Great Falls, 27 in Glasgow. Tomorrow, 41 in Havre, 48 in Great Falls, 46 in Lewistown. Over the next 3 days, we will be looking at staying dry. Temperatures well above the average for this time of the year. Again, 51 on Monday. And then on Tuesday, we do have a slight chance for a snow flurry isolated right now. Sunny skies, though, Wednesday through Friday. For Helena, I believe we'll see that chance for maybe a flurry on Monday instead of Tuesday. Tim?
Thanks, Grant. The Thanksgiving Classic has tipped off at Carroll College. We'll bring you the afternoon highlights when the news continues.
From Montana's news leader, you're watching the MTN 530 News.
We have some somber news to report tonight as the beloved former voice of the University of Montana Grizzlies, Mick Holine, has passed away. Mick was voice of the Grizzly football and basketball programs for an incredible 31 years. In that time, he was there truly by the Grizz each step of the way, from the highs to the lows. He was there for their first football title in 1995 and courtside when the basketball program upset Nevada in 2006. MTN caught up with Holine's former broadcast partner, Scott Guernsey, to talk about the legacy of Mick Holine.
He absolutely lived and breathed Montana Grizzly sports and athletics. He was one of the most passionate, well-spoken, wore his heart on his sleeve guy that you could even be around. It didn't matter who you were, if you were a 4-year-old little kid or an old timer. He had time for you.
Well, this afternoon, the Montana State Northern Skylights women played their first season opener in Helena against Lewis and Clark State. But as MTN's Sam Hoyle shows us, everything about this year's opener was different for them.
Who would have thought that the year they leave the league, it's going to be our opener at Carroll College of all places. So things are definitely not normal.
On Friday, the Montana State Northern Skylights opened their season against a former Frontier Conference foe in Lewis Clark State, something that doesn't normally happen. Except for the Warriors, they had just moved from the Frontier Conf to the Cascade Conference. And even stranger about the Skylights season opener, they're doing it in Helena.
Though the Skylights faced challenges en route to the loss, Northern head coach Chris Mowat said all he really wanted was the opportunity to get he and his players out onto the court.
I just as soon start that way. Let's see really where we're at right now with the kids that we have, that we're able to put in uniform today and see where we're at, because we have nothing to do but learn from it. I really believe that, and just have something to be excited about. I think that's a huge thing right now.
As the Northern Skylights got ready for their matchup, there was a mixture of excitement and understanding that if things don't go their way, it's still very early in a very bizarre season.
I feel like it's my first year again. I think our kids feel the same way. They've just been waiting. They've been waiting to go and get an opportunity. So I think that's really good. But at the same time, I know we're not as prepared as we would be for a conference game or something like that. And that's just, it's the nature of the beast right now. It's not a typical game. That's all. We're just going to have to go in and make it as typical as we can, given the circumstances. But, I just want to get that ball in the air and see what happens from there.
The Northern Skylights may not have won their season opener, but they'll get another chance to notch their first victory in this atypical season tomorrow when they take on the Valley City State Vikings. Reporting in Helena, Sam Hoyle, MTN Sports.
A local climbing center is getting creative to keep an annual competition alive amid the pandemic. The Highland Climbing Center in Great Falls is holding its annual bouldering competition virtually. It's been going on for 2 weeks and wraps up this weekend. Instead of having the usual big group of climbers in for a one-day event, climbers come in on their own, climb, then log their climbing data in an app. That data is ranked in real time with other climbers.
It's definitely something different. It's the first time that we've actually had to do something like this where it's virtual. And I think the plus side of it is just how versatile it is. People can come in anytime they want.
Tony says there will likely be more virtual events in the future. We'll be right back.
Temperatures tonight, 37 degrees in Great Falls, 24 in Helena, and 34 in Lewistown. Warming up tomorrow significantly to 48 degrees in the Electric City and 53 in Jordan and 44 in Helena. Another mild day. As we go throughout the next 7 days, we will have a slight chance for an isolated flurry on Tuesday, but we should stay mostly dry. Sunny skies come back out next Wednesday. For our friends in Helena, really the same situation. We're looking at December 1st on Tuesday with sunny skies coming back next work week.
Well, if you think you've eaten too much this weekend, there's a Kansas police dog who can teach us all some new tricks. Hitting the treadmill is not what most of us would be begging to do at 5 in the morning, but it's what Wichita explosive detection canine Boomer loves to do. His handler, Detective Stephanie Neal, says Boomer gets in anywhere from 5 to 7 miles in the morning. And Boomer also serves almost as a therapy dog for officers and others who may be having a rough day. And I'm told that the police chief there took video of that and put it on Facebook or social media platforms, and it's gone viral. So
maybe I should change my name to Boomer. Maybe that will inspire me.
You can work like a dog, now you can work out like a dog.
There you go.
Have a great night. We'll see you back here at 10.